Can y'all define personal brand? And can we define the goal of personal brand we're evaluating, of whether it's effective or not?
So to me, personal brand is all about building an audience around the topic that you master or that you are learning and sharing your learnings with others. Like, you don't have to be an expert or call yourself an expert to build a personal brand. But the most important part is about like building trust with the audience, either through like a newsletter, post on LinkedIn or any social network. It can even be like TikTok, Twitter, Facebook for some.
Okay, so you're defining personal brand as any activities that are developing, that are around the expertise that you have.
Yeah, but tied to you as a person,
okay,
not tied to your company. To me, the goal of personal brand is to do two things: bring value to other in your audience, and you're gonna build that audience around the value that you bring, and also build trust.
Why would you want to build trust?
For me, there are like two side effects of a personal brand. You have the obvious choice, which is you build your personal brand. Some people either reach out to you, which is kind of like inbound, or you reach out to people who already know you because they are in your audience, which would be like the new way of doing outbound, which I think works 100 times better than cold email in general. And then there is the third part, which is referral. Because like something we didn't talk too much about is like, let's say, you know, we take back like the strategy of reaching out to people who actually know you. You decide that you're going to write about a certain topic. So the goal of the call is, let's say like getting to write an article about a specific topic. You realize that they have a problem, but they might be using like one of your competitors to solve that problem, and it's working well for them. Are you going to be like the pushy sales rep trying to close them? Or are you just going to say like, you know what, if you're happy with the solution on that specific problem, like fine, like let's just keep in touch, and now you're part of my network. I'm still happy to bring value to you, you know, like it's fine. But do you know anyone in your network that you could refer? And for me, this is also the part about a personal brand, because some people can trust you but not buy from you. However, I could recommend clients your way.
Yeah.
Just because of that trust, because of that relationship.
So let's say that you are SDR and you're prospecting into CTO. So you're publishing all these tips on selling into CTOs or things that you think that they would like based on your experience.
Yeah.
And then a year later, you start selling into a CFO. So completely different buyer, both outside of your expertise. At that point, you would say, I'm going to pivot my personal brand.
It has happened to me. Like I built my personal brand in the early days of lemlist around cold emails. So I was like analyzing the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of cold emails that our clients were like sending and giving tons of tips. So more about sales, more about cold emails, etc. But as the company grew, I felt like my personal brand should transition toward more like helping other entrepreneurs, etc. So
yeah,
I moved away from this. However, like people still found value in my posts. People still liked me because of what I was saying. And some people who are sales are also interested in what I'm doing now. So you can transition your personal brand as you're growing. It's not because like you start doing something that you have to stick for it for your entire life. Sales is just like a byproduct of the relationships.
Yes.
Right.
For me, like the end goal of anything I do is to build relationship and see if I can help people.
Okay.
If I can't, I don't care. Like it's if I can't personally, I'm not gonna look for the sales. That's not gonna be my end goal. If I can't, but I know like a product or anything else or someone that I know that can help, I would become a connector. And becoming a connector is another way to grow your network, be helpful to others, and help solve problems.
Do you believe if something personally happened to you, like non-business related, do you think that should be a part of your brand? And what percentage would you say do you think is healthy?
Anything that's not business related makes you like human. It makes you look like a human. And if it makes you look like a human, it helps you connect in a way with some people. For example, I've seen people that I felt were like kind of bragging all the time, etc. It was not like build in public, but more like brag in public. And then they started like sharing something about like how much doubt they had, how much rejection they had in the past, all these type of things, which has nothing to do with the type of topics they were posting. But for me, it moved me. I was like, okay, like this person is actually like a decent human being. They went through tough stuff and it make kind of like them. But I do feel that it must be used strategically, like not like, I think for me, if it's like, let's say 5% of your content,
right,
it makes sense. The truth is like, you might have people that are like inspired by what you say, but you're not always building trust.
Yeah.
It's the same as if you have someone, you know, like who entertains you a lot, like posting tons of funny stuff online, like the meme lord or whatever, you know, like tons of memes, super funny. Yeah, of course, this guy gets rich, like tons of rich. He has like a huge personal brand.
Yeah.
But in the end, would you buy from him or like,
Right.
or her? Like, or would you like actually be, you know, like having a meeting with
Take
this kind
him
of person?
seriously.
Not
Yeah.
really. Sometimes I think educate gets less rich, but the quality of the
reach is
relationship you
higher.
build is much higher.
In my opinion, the definition is the deliberate attempt to influence how the world sees you leveraging media. The next piece is what's the goal? The goal is simple: reach.
For what?
Whatever fucking purpose you want. So in this case, we're talking sales. Fine. If you're passionate about sales and you want reach around sales, and we can talk about why you want reach around sales, it's either to get a job, either to get a job and to get a job. It's to start your own company. Like, I don't really give a fuck. Like, that's the key piece. It's reach. We're not paying enough attention. Reach is oil, baby. Reach is water. Reach is cash. I believe reach is probably the greatest asset you can have other than cash and then, you know, food and water to live. So now you should just be 100%, yes, build a brand, and it should be for reach. I don't care how you decide. You just need to be passionate about it, believe in it, and it has to be actually who you are. So just find out who you are and double, triple, and quadruple down on who you are and be deliberate and how the world sees you to build reach. After that, the execution questions come into play. What do you get for it? How do you measure that, et cetera? But it doesn't matter. The bigger your reach is, I don't care what your purpose for it is, you have power.
Do you think that you could and should pivot? Again, you have a CTO buyer, then you have a CFO buyer.
No. See, here's the point.
But what if your goal is to book meetings?
Okay, that should never be the goal of a personal brand, ever. So no, I never have to pivot from where I'm at. Now, I may write an article on sales that's more germane to the CTO one day, and then another article that's more germane to the salesperson another day, and another article that's more germane to marketing. Hey, marketing, this is what sales teams want, but it's all sales. So there is no pivot. This is what I believe. This is who I am. This is how I operate. This is what's important. This is how I think it'll benefit, key point. This is how I think it'll benefit you. And I do that all day long.
And so it's irrespective a lot of times of your buyer.
100%.
Irrespective of, and the goal is not to book meetings.
No, that's the beneficial outcome, but that's not building a personal brand. That's advertising. You build the reach, the people follow you, you'll have your opportunity to reach to them, ask for something. You're building this brand, you're reaching out to people, you give, reach gets bigger, then you can ask them for something. And they'll give it to you. It's a long game. It is not, how do I get this person to buy? If you're trying to build a personal brand to schedule meetings, you're doing it wrong.
But there is another question, which is like, should everyone build a personal brand? And I do feel on that end, it's like, to me, if you're not working on a topic you're passionate about, then you shouldn't be building your personal brand around that topic.
Amen. As you build your brand and you try to teach, educate, share, you begin to bump into your own ceiling of knowledge, and you expand that by going and researching. So you only become more and more knowledgeable. And then you start finding things that other people don't know.
From your view, you find one thing that you're passionate about and layers upon that thing, and you expand upon that. Whereas in your case, you can pivot.
You can switch.
You can switch.
For me, it's not an issue. You can take like, let's take Justin Welsh, for example. His expertise is personal brand, but initially he was talking about healthcare, SaaS, and sales. That's the only thing he was talking about. And he was getting like consulting gig around that type of things. He started to grow his audience. And by teaching others the first skill he had, which was SaaS sales, he started to learn how to build an audience, which became another of his skill sets. So instead of keeping that same skill set, he said like, well, you know what? I've learned how to build an audience. Now I'm going to teach others how to build an audience. And that's how he pivoted. So even if in his network, potentially there are still like people in the healthcare industry around SaaS, etc., some of them are still interested about him because, you know, like they found him valuable.
In my opinion, we're overthinking this concept of reach. Just the more people that you get paying attention to you for good reasons, the better off you are. My youngest, who has her own website, right? She's blogging right now, has a podcast, etc. Started all this at 11, right? Let's just say she doesn't become a world-class World Cup mogul skier, and she goes off to college. And one of the things she says is, send her to my website. What do you think that school's going to think when an 11-year-old girl has been blogging, doing podcasts, has her own website, almost became a World Cup mogul skier, and sees all that and been doing it for 7 years? That is going to be another additional value to the school she wants to go to that's going to play into their decision, right? I don't understand why people don't get this. Not only is personal brand important, but personal brand something what I call show the economy, not the tell me economy. When you had a resume that told me let me tell you what I do, let me tell you what I know, let me tell you this, right? Personal brand is, let me show you.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me show you let me show you who I am. And that changes the game. It's just simple to me. The fact that someone would argue no is just is smoke and dope. Yeah, you can't lose.